I think it's entirely possible that Hogwarts Legacy is the greatest, if not one of the greatest games released this entire generation. When it comes to action, adventure, slash light role playing games that are open world, that borrow from source material that's incredibly beloved, I don't think a game gets it as right as this one does. When you're in a large open world, you want to be able to explore it freely, and I can't express the excitement when you first get access to your broom and you're able to take off and there is the entirety of the world for you to explore in the air, on the ground, then the combat system, the dedication to the source material. I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan. I watch the films, they're enjoyable, but this game is something special, and I keep coming back to it. So I want to talk about why I think Hogwarts Legacy is one of, if not the best game released this generation in this video. Now, apart from the graphics, which completely and totally blew me away and pulled me into the world of Harry Potter like the films never did, and I never read any of the books, so that never had an influence on me at all. This game and its world are so engrossing, so captivating. There's so much to see, do, and experience that I was blown away at the level of detail when I first played it. Let's get the formalities out of the way first. In 2023, Hogwarts Legacy was released. It's an action role-playing game developed by Avalanche Software and published by Warner Brothers Games under its Portkey Games label. It's part of the Wizarding World franchise, taking place a century prior to the Harry Potter novels. You control a student enrolled at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry who learns to wield an array of magical abilities and objects. With the assistance of fellow students and professors, the protagonist embarks on a journey to unearth an ancient secret concealed within the Wizarding World. Within 2 weeks, Hogwarts Legacy sold more than 12 million copies and generated $850 million in global sales revenue. As of May 5th, 2023, its revenue reached $1 billion, and by the end of October 2024, global sales totaled 30 million copies. The game received praise for its combat, world design, characters, variety of content, and faithfulness to the source material. Now, I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan. I've watched the films and they're enjoyable, never read the books, but I'm a fan of these open world action adventure slash RPG games. And when you have source material out there like Harry Potter, I was very interested in this game. When I purchased it and began playing it, that's when I knew that this was something special. What's great about it is Hogwarts Legacy is set in the late 1800s, taking place in several Wizarding World locations, such as Hogwarts Castle, Hogsmeade, and the Scottish Highlands. The player takes on the role of a student starting their studies at Hogwarts in the 5th year. So you get to create your own character, and you're not thrust into the world of Harry Potter and all of those characters that you've seen or you've read in the books and seen in the movies. You get to experience these locations, and the characters that you meet aren't established, so everything feels fresh, it feels new, and it's all there for you, the player, to experience. One of the great things about this game is that as somebody who isn't a huge fan of the source material, you go into it and the level of detail and the way that everything is thought out, and they had this template to follow the books and the films. Once you're in the world and you're in the castle and you're exploring and you see all of the detail and all of the things that can be interacted with, all of the things that you can do, it's just an amazing game. You really get a sense that the people that created this game loved Harry Potter, loved the world, the characters, and they worked extremely hard to reproduce that feeling of being in the world. the physics, the gameplay, everything about this game just feels great. When you first get the broom and you realize that this entire world, not just the castle that you've been exploring, not just the grounds outside of the castle in the introduction when you learn how to do certain things with the wand, when you're learning your spells, but when you realize that you can hop on that broom and fly around the entirety of the world at will, explore anywhere at will. I mean, I flew around the castle at night all the way up to the top of one of the peaks on the roof and just stood there and looked out on the world, and I thought, this is a game that I'm going to spend a ton of time with. And that's what's important when it comes to games like this, because if they had just sort of half-heartedly created a Harry Potter game and cashed in on the IP and the name, maybe they would have made money, but they went the extra mile here with this game. The animation when you're in combat is something that just stands out. It feels really cool to pull off all of these moves and learn these spells. I mean, I'm not up on what these spells are called, so forgive me if you're a Harry Potter fan, but there's one where you can levitate somebody in midair, and then you can mix and match a fire spell. You can pull people towards you, you can throw them away, you can turn them into different things in the middle of combat. There's so much fluidity to it, and it sounds cumbersome. It sounds difficult at first when you're watching, and I thought, how am I going to be able to pull all this off? But somehow they managed to incorporate the combat system and the transparent tutorial as you play the game. You learn how to pull these things off, and everything just feels great. Having a large open world for the player to play in is great, but you have to have things within that world that consistently pull you in. And with this game, it felt like as I was playing it, almost around every corner there was something to experience, something to discover. It might not have been super impactful to the story. It might have been something secondary like a side quest, or even just a location that you discover, and graphically something that just pulls you in. That's another key thing here. The graphics in this game are absolutely incredible. The day-night cycle, there is so much to see and do and experience that has nothing to do with the main campaign or a side quest at night versus the day. And during the day, there's tons to see and do when it comes to the traversal and exploration. There's almost two different games for you to play here when it comes to combat, when it comes to exploration, when it comes to just wandering around. That's something that I do in these large open world games. I just wander around, and if I can get lost in these worlds and discover things that have nothing to do with what I'm supposed to be doing to complete the game, to me that's a sign of a great game and a great game world, and that is absolutely here with Hogwarts Legacy. It took me around 60 or so hours to complete the game. I did some side stuff, but not everything. I crafted some of the spells, but not all of them, and I met a ton of characters along the way, but again, not all of them. That's why I keep going back to Hogwarts Legacy. It's a game that I personally can play over and over and over again, and even post-game, I'm still running through this game, discovering things, and just existing in the world. Again, a hallmark of a great game. It's kind of strange that one of my favorite games this generation is based on source material that I'm not even a huge fan of. To me, that's a testament to what they've done with the world of Harry Potter, with the world of Hogwarts, and with this game, Hogwarts Legacy. I truly believe that this is one of the best games released this generation, and it's odd because it released on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, and then worked its way back to last generation. So playing this game on the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series X, is an absolute treat, even if you aren't a fan of Harry Potter and the world, but are a fan of a world that gives you a ton of things to see, do, and experience. A handcrafted experience from people who love the source material. Hogwarts Legacy, to me, is one of, if not the best game released this generation. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Thanks for watching the video. Liking and subscribing would be great, and I'll see you in the next one.